Welcome back to Night Talk. Enjoying our time with Deanna DiGioia of Greater Pittsburgh Wellness, and this is our second and last segment with her. We're covering wellness and its impact not just on us individually, but societally, and how, in fact, GPW, as she calls it, can in fact be of value to you. One thing to pick up where we left off just moments ago, I usually tell people this way. Because we were talking about the anxiety and the body creaking and cranking and all that type of thing, and overshooting the mark, and then getting disturbed by it and quitting. If you could get anything in, and particularly if you can get up and go on, and really go on, and have some consistency with it, there's a trickle effect that is just as positive as not doing it is.
Absolutely.
And specifically, the trickle effect, rather than the absorbing of the energy that's bad and all that, turns into a different thing. A, you've got better energy. Number two, you're less likely to suck down 3 or 4 beers after you just busted your butt. Okay, or your brain. In the form of, like you talked about, the holistic version of things. You tend to rest better.
Right.
You tend to basically have, I just think, a brighter attitude toward things. So I think that there's a real ripple effect and consequences that are positive from working out that are just as in contrast as the negative ones. Would you agree?
Absolutely. Just like you said, when you start to work out, baby steps, you start to set small, achievable goals for yourself. And when you start to achieve them, you start to feel better. When you start to feel better, you eat better. When you start to eat and exercise better, maybe you sleep better. Maybe you relate to your family better. Maybe you have more patience. Maybe you have a clearer mind to be more creative. You sleep better, so you actually rest your mind. So you are more creative and you are more patient, and you have all of that energy and clarity for the next day. Right. So it really is a good trickle effect.
You mentioned moments ago about junk food, that it's the cheapest and so forth. True or false? If I want to eat healthy, I've got to spend a whole heck of a lot more money.
No, not at all.
Tell me why. Because that is, as you're well aware, that's a common myth.
It is a common myth. Ironically, salads might be more expensive than junk food. However, there are very easy ways to make the most of your money. A lot of fresh foods, the least amount of processed. Processed for me isn't necessarily breads. I understand bread and pasta is processed. However, there are healthier versions of that you can eat. And the less that you eat of that, the better. So you can make a very easy meal by some chicken, some cheese, some sauce, some pesto, throw it in a pan, and it's done in 40 minutes. And that's not a lot of money.
No, but let me, you don't strike me as a type, just in meeting you, that, you know, to I don't know, have 4 or 5 bags of pork rinds during the course of a Steeler game. But do you allow yourself to cheat a little bit once in a while?
Absolutely. Yeah. I always tell people, if you're going to a birthday party, if I'm going to a birthday party, I want to have a piece of cake. So if I want to have that piece of cake, I think about it. I'm going to a birthday party, I'd like to have a piece of cake. What do I need to do to make myself feel comfortable about having that cake so I can enjoy the cake and not feel bad about it afterwards? So I watch what I eat the day of. I eat my cake. I enjoy that cake. I don't feel guilty about it. And maybe the next day I throw an extra 5 minutes in to something. Yeah, right. To something.
I understand. So, okay, you don't torture yourself.
No.
We're going to take a look at some B-roll here of the the Greater Pittsburgh Wellness. And obviously, as you can see, folks, there's obviously a lot there in terms of, as you put it, the more traditional gym. I like the aspect of it, if I might, that relates to the mental part, the holistic part, that basically filling out the entire agenda.
Yes.
Because candidly, just about any place can give you a place to go lift.
Right.
I mean, it's as simple as that. The corporate wellness program, I really want to focus on for a few minutes here, and that's designed to support local businesses and their employees. This has become a really, really big deal with corporate America, hasn't it?
It has. One of the visions that we have is to be able to go into local businesses, no matter what the size, and bring what we have from Greater Pittsburgh Wellness into their facility, one, but then also offer programming within the facility, because sometimes it is nice to get out, but we can go into any facility. One of the things that I like to do is I like to sit with a company and get the vibe, feel the environment, see what it's all about, and see how can I help these people improve the work atmosphere. Whether it might be, let's set aside this little room over here so it's a quiet room, set up some lighting, maybe even a little fountain to create some mood, or some kind of environment, and allow people, maybe instead of a smoke break, you can go into this room, take a nap,
you could feel,
lay on the floor.
You could feel the vibe anytime you walk into just about any place. Right. And you could tell, frankly, increasingly, just how buildings are built. I mean, openness and so forth go a long way, I think, toward making it healthier. But I also know that when people are unhealthy in companies, there's more sick leave, there's more medical costs, more medical expenses, and the business takes that on. And again, businesses are in a business to make money.
Right.
And so if there are going to be costs that come aboard and hurt that profit loss, it's going to get passed on somewhere.
Right.
And it's just better for everybody, including these corporations and employees, to take that perspective and that challenge. And I think increasingly that's being done. I think it's a great area for you to develop.
I'm very excited about it.
I would understand why. When I look at that, and you correct me if I'm wrong, that's effectively an investment by the corporation in not only its employees but itself.
Absolutely. Absolutely. If you have healthy, happy employees, you will have a healthy, happier environment. They'll be more productive. It'll be a nicer place to come to work. When people are healthy and happier, costs go down, productivity goes up.
Sure.
I think it's kind of a win-win.
Yeah, one-on-one programs, group programs, seminars from coaches to help you improve on a variety of ways, sports training or otherwise.
Yep.
But you have an event coming up soon. I want to talk briefly about it.
Yes, we do. Friday. Athleta, which is owned by The Gap, they're co-sponsoring the event. And it's an evening of fitness and shopping. So we've lined up some local vendors who will be selling their wares. For example, one of my bracelets that I have on is made by one of the vendors. We're also going to have a women's boot camp. I call it an improv boot camp because whoever shows up, we're going to customize it to whomever shows up. And then I will be teaching a men's only yoga class. All the while, doors open at 6, you can go shopping. We also have Peak Performance Chiropractic coming in. They're going to do some trigger point massage to introduce that concept to people. Maybe they've never heard of it.
Sure.
And hopefully lots of people will show up.
You're over at Old Freeport Road. It's located at the Fox Chapel Yacht Club and greaterpittsburghwellness.com. It doesn't get easier than that. One last thing, you mentioned yoga and men. Do you see men's attitudes changing to what I consider to be a healthier, more open approach? I can appreciate lifting weights as much as anybody, but I know it's not as limited as that. Do you see a change from 10 years ago?
Absolutely. A lot of my clients in the past had been men, and I think it was because of my basketball component. And the change that I've noticed is they're more willing to be vulnerable, to show weakness, to show that maybe they don't know everything. For example, the yoga class, I've had quite a few men say to me, I'd love to try yoga. It's so intimidating because it is a very woman-dominated format. In most of the classes that I have attended are during the day, which are us moms that are there, and they're not a whole lot of men. In the evening, there might be a few more, but again, it's still more female-dominated. And men have a very, very different body format, body makeup than women. So men have tighter hamstrings, men are tighter through their hips. Men typically use their upper body more than their lower body, where yoga will teach you, anybody, how to use the body as one functional unit. It's good to appeal to men and show them how to get into poses properly for their body.
Okay, I want to do one last thing before I have to adjourn. I'm looking at the clock right here and I have no more time, so I got to make it very quick. One thing I used to talk about was, and I used to be at a gym years and years and years ago, 20 years ago, that we would be upset if anybody opened up the windows in the middle of July because we just liked it that way. Obviously, you're a very attractive woman. It's a beautiful place. We just saw that. I assume there's other people, men and women, that are of that mindset. But can a guy with black socks show up?
Absolutely.
That was always my phrase.
Why not?
I mean, the black.
Sure.
You know what I mean by the black socks.
With
guy.
the sandals too.
Yeah, oh, well, I've been known to do that. That's a whole different story. That's a whole different show. But my kids are watching right now and they're going, Dad. All right, good enough. I don't want to go a step further than that. All right, thank you so much, Deanna.
Thank you very much.
Deanna, we really enjoyed the time. Best
Me
of
too.
luck at
Thank
Greater
you.
Pittsburgh Wellness. We're going to come back. We're going to talk about the U.S. Open coming to Oakmont. We'll keep it on that side of the river. I'm Ellis Cannon. You're watching Night Talk at PCNC.